Hi guys, welcome to another video from Overbite Gaming, and today we're taking a look at Sleeping Dogs. This is one I have spoken about before but not done a full review on, and as it is one of my favourite games, I thought it was past due. So Sleeping Dogs is an open world crime adventure game set in Hong Kong. It was originally going to be part of the True Crime series, and they did True Crime New York and LA, and they were going to do Hong Kong as well, but it didn't pan out. Switched development hands a couple of times and was eventually picked up by Square Enix, who released it. And oh my god, I am so glad they did. It is so much better than the previous two True Crime games. They really should have kept it because it would have been amazing, and it did sell quite well at its outset as well. What you're seeing here is the enhanced edition. This just basically means there's a few more volumetric effects, the textures are sharper. They've done a few sort of quality of life changes, but it's mostly sort of the same and intact. Some people don't like it as much. Some people say that the extra sort of volumetric effects make some of the textures look a bit washed out, but I'm not having a problem with it. It did confuse me though. I was like looking at my playtime, which is like 80 odd hours. I'm sure I played more than that, and then I remembered that I hid the original Sleeping Dogs when I got the upgraded one, and I got another 60 odd on that. So I was like, yeah, that makes more sense. Okay. So you play as Wei Shen. He's an undercover cop that's infiltrating the Sun On Yi, very cleverly changed from the real life Sun Yi On. I'm not sure why they bothered. It's close enough that it's not exactly going to hide who the reference is. So it's a bit strange that they just changed it like that. I don't know, maybe Triad gangs sue people for using their name. Maybe that's it. Or maybe they would just be killed. Who knows? Not me, I'm a good boy and don't get involved with that naughtiness. And he's trying to infiltrate them, go undercover. You start off, obviously, a suspicion about the newcomer. You ingratiate yourself. You actually start sort of becoming friends and liking the people you work with in the Triad. And obviously, things go pear-shaped and you get sort of control of the gang. And there's a lot of Triad politicking and stuff like that, all set amongst a beautifully realised Hong Kong. I haven't been to Hong Kong, but the developers of this game did go to Hong Kong, and I imagine it shows because it looks absolutely lovely. Well, not lovely as in I'd like to live somewhere where there was a bunch of wires hanging all over the place, but lovely in the fact of the lighting and the sort of detail in the city. It really does make it look lived in. One of the changes they did in the enhanced edition was also to up the density of the crowd, so it looks it does help, especially in places like the city market, because that's quite a narrow place and it's quite crowded, as you can imagine a market to be, and even more so now. So it does sort of help with the ambience of it, which is top notch really in the game. The ambience of the city is top notch. The graphics are surprisingly good. I mean, the enhanced edition only came out a couple of years after the regular one did, so it's not exactly modern. In fact, it's on sale right now, so if you are considering getting it, it's on Steam for £2.99. So it's an excellent purchase at that price. It is regularly, I think, about £15, but which is still an excellent price for this game, and I would recommend picking it up under either price, but obviously a cheaper one if you can get it. I think that's available to the 9th of July. At least in these climes, anyway. So what do you do in Sleeping Dogs? Gameplay is usually split up between sort of three activities, which is fighting, shooting, and driving. Fighting is what you'll be doing most, which is good because it's easily the best of the three. They have a rather wonderful martial arts fighting system, and it is slightly similar to the Arkham games in that Y button will parry kind of thing, but outside of that there's not a huge amount of similarity, but the Y button parry thing does often sort of get it sort of just dipped as an Arkham-like, which, you know, there are similarities, but not as many as you would think. And it is a tremendous fighting system. You can grab people and use environmental hazards to murder them horribly, and there are some horrible murders to be had. You can stick their heads in like AC vent fans, you can electrocute them, you can dump them on swordfish heads or into electric eel bass. You can stick their heads in furnaces. It's awesome. The amount of ways you can absolutely murderize someone is great. And that's outside of the regular combat, which is hard hitting. And it upgrades as well, because what happens is, as you fight, you build up a face meter. Once the face meter activates, you can do some special moves, and it will also regen your health while you're not taking damage, which is super nice. You also pick up around the area, and throughout the mission you'll be seeing these green jade statues, which you can pick up and take back to your old kung fu master, and he will teach you a new move for each statue. Each of these moves are suitably brutal. They involve kind of like a side kick to the knee, which is obviously painful, to the side of the knee as well, so super painful because it ain't supposed to go that way. And a similar one over the shoulder, sort of arm break. Imagine, you know, any sort of action movie that you've seen where they break someone's shoulder over the arm. It's exactly that. With some more kicks and some other techniques and stuff. You gotta be careful though, because sometimes, as I said, these jade statues are in mission areas. So if you miss it, oftentimes you're not able to go back and get it. Or if you are, I wasn't able to, like a dumbass. So just be aware, just make sure you check all those nooks and crannies if you're not on a timer or anything, just in case there's a jade statue lurking. Outside of that, there are 3 methods of experience in this game. You've got the face meter, which is your reputational meter. This is what locks you out of certain things. So, like, certain cars will only be available at certain face meters, and with motorcycles and boats. Certain clothing sets, you need to be higher face meters to equip some of them. One excellent change they did make in the Enhanced Edition is when you bought the DLC in the previous one, whenever you started a game, you had all the DLC outfits, and some of them were pretty powerful. Now, you only get them once you completed the DLC. So, that's a good start, because it actually makes the bigger game not just like... Well, I mean, it's not a difficult game as it is, but it's certainly not a difficult game when you've got, like, stupid damage buffs from your outfit that you shouldn't have, really. So, that's a nice change. The other 2 experience meters are Cop and Triad. So with Triad you get experience for doing triady things, so being as violent as possible and beating people up essentially. In Cop 1 it's very much the other way around. It's taking drives without hitting anything, being clean, not hurting anyone, that sort of thing. And they go up, then you will get different buffs for each of them. The Triad stuff generally buffs your melee combat. The Cop stuff generally buffs like vehicle and shooting, or gives you utility stuff for those. So the ability to use essentially a coat hanger to open a car and not set off the alarm. So, you know, it's helpful, but you're going to be doing most of your time fighting. Speaking of cars, there's a good selection. As I said, some of them are face level gated, but you can always pinch them if you're not high enough to own them yet, which is fine. You just won't be able to retain them. Although, in my experience, unless you're on an actual mission, it does do a fair enough job remembering where you parked. So, there you are. I like the bikes. I've always liked the bikes. I always play bikes on open world games, which is why I tend to use bikes, unless the mission specifically calls for it, or I just can't find one. Unfortunately, I'm not very good at driving. However, this game is quite easy. They have rejiggered the driving model for the remaster version. It feels like it controls just a bit too well. I'm not complaining because I'm terrible at driving and I have just obtained my provisional license, so please pray for me. I will appreciate it very much. But no, the cars do handle probably more than fine, to be honest with you. It does force you to do a lot of missions of chasing, and there's a lot of racing in it that you can take part in if you want to. I'm not a huge fan of that sort of thing. Cars for me should be used as transport rather than the basis of the mission, because like you do one wrong turn and just get, oh, I have to turn around. Yes, generally that's mission fucks. You want to start the checkpoint. That's why I don't like those sort of things most of the time. I mean, I get it, because he got away, right? You shouldn't know where he is, wherever he is, anywhere, so it makes sense, but it just annoys me, if I'm honest. But there are good points to driving as well. I mean, I do enjoy the driving process outside of that, and you can do action hijacking, which basically you hold down the A button, and where he stands up on his bike or stands in the door of his car, and when you get close enough, you can let go and you'll jump onto or into another car. Use this to like hijack certain mission objectives, or there's armored sort of security corps vans going around the city, so you can jump onto them, hijack it, turn it into like a chop shop and get a massive cash bonus for it, which is helpful because a lot of the upper level cars, boats and cycles are really expensive, so that cash will come in handy. Generally you use the cash for also buying outfits. As I said, some outfits come with buffs, just passive buffs, and if you manage to assemble an entire outfit, you will get a bigger buff, which is nice. And they are clearly marked what outfit set they're a part of as well. Generally speaking, I just go for what looks good though, because as I say, it's not particularly difficult. But there are some good looks and there's some iconic ones. So you've got the Bruce Lee yellow tracksuit from Game of Death. You've got, I think from Enter the Dragon, the sashed, topless, pantalooned look, or maybe parachute pants. I'm not sure what they're called in martial arts, but that one. You've got a monkey costume, so the monkey god. I can't remember his name, so I won't bother saying it. We'll just call him Jet Li because of Hidden Kingdom, Forgotten Kingdom. The one with Jackie Chan in it as well. I like that, by the way. Just because I do, and you know, as there's that rather nice woman from the Meg in it as well. So as a white-haired witch, looking particularly chuckalicious. And I'm getting sidetracked. I'm sorry. Anyway, the shooting is probably the weakest part of the game. If I'm totally honest, it's very much in there, but it's also very much played down. You all get into big shootouts. There will be that. The system itself is serviceable. It's not terrible. It doesn't make me want to throw my controller up in the air and go, "Oh man, I don't want to play this." But it isn't as fun as the martial arts by a long shot. You can't really carry weapons. You can put a pistol away, but generally speaking, as you're in a mission, you would lose it, so you have to require a firearm anyway. You can't keep hold of sort of two-handed weapons, anything like that. The actual aiming is fine. You can sort of get some gung-fu stuff going on. So you can like vault over something at a slow-mo and you can shoot someone in the head and that will increase the slow-mo. But the weapon spread is pretty bad, so it's hard to be accurate. I mean, I am playing on controller because obviously where it's more tilted to the martial arts and the driving, I just feel the controller's a better choice than the analog input, digital inputs to the keyboard. But for the on-foot shooting sections, you're probably better off switching back to a mouse and keyboard if you can. I mean, obviously it was a console release, so you won't be able to in that point, but it'd be preferable. It's just not very good. There are sections where you have to shoot from cars, as if you're running away or trying to sort of wreck other people. Shoot for the tires, because if you lose a tire, and they are easy to pop, they will just basically go end over end and explode. So it's the quickest way of getting rid of them. And because of the spread, like if you try to take out the driver, it's a waste of time. To be honest, the cars themselves aren't particularly durable, so you can just shoot the car if you like. The tire is quicker. You can also ram the cars as well with your car. You just do a side swipe. Doesn't do much damage to you, but it's quite devastating to the car, especially with some copper upgrades. It will become even more so. It's, you know, so I like it in those circumstances, even though it is a bit easy to like blow up a car by shooting out one of its tires. Seems a bit odd, but okay. The story itself does take twists and turns. You sort of go up the ladder of the Triad organization and become a big name. And one of the nice things it does do is it does make you invest in some of the characters that you're seeing. At least in the early game. In the late game, they start throwing people at you a little bit, and you're just like, "Who's this? Oh, he's gone again." Yeah, okay. I mean, there's a black American celebrity that comes across, and you take him out, show him a good time, have a punch up with by his side, and he's like, "Yeah, yo, wait, you're the man," and all this, and like, "I'll be seeing you around," and you never see him again. He just goes. That happens a fair bit as the game continues in the later portion of the game, but in the first sort of as you're sort of building, working your way through the sort of the street level stuff, you do become attached. I mean, Winston especially become attached to, and your best mate Jackie, which is your into the organisation. You definitely become attached to those characters, for better or for worse. So it does a good job there. And the storyline is always interesting. They were making a movie. I'm not sure if they've managed it yet or have cancelled it. I've not seen it if it has been made, so maybe we should check that out. But you know, I don't think it's an outstanding story. It's probably what you would expect for like undercover cop infiltrating triads. To be honest with you, he becomes, you know, his loyalties are torn in all this. So the story itself is absolutely serviceable and even good in areas, but it's don't expect it to be like, oh my god, this was, I don't know, the Green Mile. I was crying by the end of it. No, it's not that. It does have a very impressive amount of voice acting talent in it though, because you've got Will Yun Lee, yes, that is his name, who voices Wei Shen. He does a fantastic job. For me, as an actor, he's always quite charismatic anyway, and he's certainly a good-looking fella. I'd like to look like him, let's put it that way. So if you've seen him, he's in The Good Doctor, as he's the Asian doctor in it. And he always plays like a nice guy, and you kind of gravitate towards him, unless he's playing a bad guy, in which case he's not very gravitatable, because he's actually a decent actor. You've also got a lot of stars in it as well. I mean, you've got Kelly Hu is, you know, still probably in my top 10. Just saying. Wow. I've lost my train of thought. I'll think about Kelly Hu later on. That'll be fine. Before my wife gets home anyway. So you've got her. Emma Stone shows up as one of the potential love interests, as does Selena Jade, who you may know from... Oh crap. I told you I'm bad with names and I'm doing movies as well. She was in one with Yuko Iwais, Michael Bisping, Yuko Iwais and Tony Jaa. They were teamed up and they were like protecting her. Michael Bisping was one of the bad guy things, and it was Michael J. White was in it. Oh, fuck it. I know, I think it's like, I want to say Triple X, but I'm not sure if it's Triple X. It's something like that. Anyway, she was in that as like the girl they were protecting. I think she was also in one of the CW series, or maybe no, it was Wing. No, I think it was one of the CW series. Well, it's one of the Marvel or DC series, one of the super ones. She's a decent actress, so I mean she's just a voice part for one of the love interests that you have, which let's be fair, you kind of ignored. You did the first date and you just got on with things, because like another girl would turn up and you'd be like, okay, and then another one, and then one would ring you and go, I don't know about her, I don't want to speak again, and you're just like, oh whatever, I didn't really care. It would have been nice if they made you care, but you don't really. I might have to like go through one day and play it and specifically let just hammer one of them with not like that, you pervs. Hammer one of them with like date requests and see if like there's like an end point to the relationship anywhere. But for me it was just like I did the intro one and then nothing. So I'm sorry, I am just a man whore apparently. Who knew? Well, everybody, to be fair, but we'll keep that under the hat, won't we? Despite the fact I put it on YouTube. I'm beginning to but yeah, so we've got all those guys. You've got Tom Wilkinson's in it. Byron Mann, who you may be familiar with as Crying Freeman. He was in that as like backup for the Freeman, his handler. He was Rio in Street Fighter. There you go, you probably know that one. He's like Chinese guy in tons of things. And David Lopan himself, James Hong, is also playing the Sung on the Higher Up. No, yes, Higher Up. No. So it is rammed to the gills of recognisable voice actors. Although you don't always recognise them, in fairness, there were a couple there like, oh yeah. I was like, I looked at the cast list, I was like, oh yeah, okay. Wouldn't have thought that, but cool. I mean, there are a few that surprised me. They did a really good job not being obvious as to who they were. So, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. You might want them to be obvious if they're stars, but okay. So, Sleeping Dogs, I would highly recommend it. It's one of the better ones. that was released at the same time. Sort of the open world crime 'em up became a sort of popular thing around the GTA and Saints Row thing. It's certainly better than any of the other ones not outside those series, and I'd say there's an argument to put it above Saints Row as well, personally. And that's including 2, which I believe to be the best one, even though it's significantly more difficult than the ones that preceded it. 1 was a bit janky. I did play 1 on backwards compatibility on my Xbox One, but no, it was just too much different about like the controls that really put me off. But 2's good, although the PC port is a pile of shit. If you want to remaster something, remaster that, please. Yes, it's a crash machine. Even if you use like mods and patches and all sorts, it's still a crash machine, at least for me. So yeah, but I know I finished it on PlayStation 3, so I do have, was it, yeah, it was 3, I'm trying to remember that. So it is easily the best of the series, though. It becomes easier and sort of more ridiculous as it goes along until you reach the reboot, and then it's just easy and stupid rather than ridiculous. Although I was playing it the other day. I don't know why. I just was. I want to see how dirty I can make my main character look, I guess. That's usually the main goal of these games, isn't it? Well, it is for me anyway. Even in Sleeping's Dogs. I mean, like I say, he's kind of cute, right? I'm as straight as the day is long, but you know, if I wasn't, my keyboard would be covered with drool whenever I played this. Even though they didn't use his physical likeness, which is kind of weird. Why would you have a guy that looks like that and not use his physical likeness? Unless he didn't want to give it up, I suppose, which is valid. He didn't want to be a crime boss and be recognised for it, I guess. But then again, he's an actor, isn't he? So I don't know. My brain just runs around like a fucking gerbil in a wheel sometimes. Anyway, guys, Sleeping Dogs, if you haven't tried it, strongly recommend. If you have a PC, now is the time to try it for fucking £3. Oh my god, that is a bargain. And the enhanced edition gives you all the DLC, doesn't give you access to all the costumes from the start until you've actually played the DLC, which is awesome. And you know, it supposedly looks a little bit better, but that's an arguable thing. Yeah. But you guys, that's me done for this week. I go back from my lunch onto my work, and I will catch you next time.